This week on New Zealand's Greatest 15, we're picking the outside backs. I'm Grant Nisbet, and I'm joined by veteran rugby journalist Phil Gifford and Sky Sport commentators Ricky Swinell and Ken Laban.
The contenders for the greatest All Blacks left wing are Jonah Lomu, Ron Jardine, Joe Rokocoko and Julian Savea.
In the end, if there's one rugby player in all of our lifetimes that I think his name worldwide has dominated the sport, even more than Richie McCaw, there's no part of the world virtually that you can go to, even today. If somebody's heard of rugby, they've heard of Jonah Lomu, and that's for a very, very good reason. To me, in 1995, Jonah was to rugby what Muhammad Ali was to boxing, in that he transcended the sport, he took the sport into areas and made people interested in it that no other rugby player has done before and no rugby player has done since.
Because it's an old cliche, isn't it? No player is bigger than the game.
He was.
We've said that right through the ages, haven't we?
Too right.
I think he's an exception.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just as Ali was an exception with boxing, he was bigger than boxing. We were so lucky in that he was a fantastic person to be a superstar. Because some superstars, as we know, in all areas, whether it's music or sport, turn into jerks. And he never did.
I think we should probably acknowledge the contribution of Joe Rokocoko and Sisaveni Silivavatu in Fiji rugby. You used the word transcend, and that is what Jonah Lomu did. He transcended the sport like no rugby player has and maybe ever will. We've got a lot of superstar athletes in the game now with big profiles, big endorsements, but he was on a whole different level. He bounced back from that young guy who struggled. He had to live his life in public as a quite a shy young guy early on, and perhaps we may never know really the full extent of his abilities. If he hadn't been ill towards the end of his career, what he really could have done. I mean, it would blow your mind. I think we're all blessed to have been. I say, players that I didn't get to see, like a Colin Meads, also Brian Lahora, and kids now will never have got to have seen Jonah play, and that's a great shame for them.
Yeah, it is. His impact on the game is, it's indisputable, really, isn't it? So there we are. I think we've said it all. We're all agreed. Our contender for the greatest All Black at left wing, indisputably, Jonah Lomu.
Out towards